drones. These aren't hobbyists that are out there flying drones around. These are like 6x6, kind of like fucking big drones. And they're been spotted. The initial ones are the ones that concern me. We'll get there, but they're over New Jersey, over in New York City. Nobody knows who's operating these drones. Is he declaring some sort of race war right now on white people? Let's choke them. Or does he mean let's choke white people who are doing exactly what Jordan Neely did? If that's what he means, then I'm all on board. If there's a white man on that subway, and I guarantee you, if Jordan Neely was white, Penny would have done the exact same thing. If anybody is threatening anyone else on a subway, especially children involved, women involved, Daniel Penny would have acted. I don't care what color that person was. I don't care what race it was. Welcome to Stay in the Gray podcast. We explore news that gets people talking by blending comedy and controversy.
Feel the sword, shadow screams Butthurt.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Trey. Together we dive into tough topics with a combination of humor and some insight.
So join us as we navigate the gray areas of the world and engaging in real conversation.
Come get to know us.
All right. Hey again. Here I am, ready to roll again, as per usual. Hope everybody's doing well. As we near Christmas time, it's getting chaotic on the roadways. I was fortunate enough to be up in New York City over the last weekend for a couple days, and it's insane. The Christmas stuff is fantastic, and I was glad I got to do that. But I'm also glad to be back because we have some stuff to talk about tonight, and what is ended up a follow-up show to something else that Trey and I talked about a long time ago when we gave you the initial story, and now the trial was done, and that was the one of Daniel Penny, and we will talk about that and more coming up. But first, let me give you another headline that made it through editing somehow, some way, and it just seems a little too easy here. It says, for sale sign can be a big help in finding a buyer for your house. So if you're selling your house, that good old for sale sign can help you out tremendously. Keep that in mind as you move forward in your journey for selling your home. Let's go to Butthurt comments. You know, and this one's simple. I'm gonna do it, and I wanted to do ones that are creative and or that are just so stupid that they're creative without intending to be creative. And this guy, obviously it's all usually in response to Trump and these things, and the losing side has just gone a little, not surprising. It's gone a little wacko with some of these conspiracy theories and Russia collusion again. Here we go again, and this and that. And all I keep saying is just wait and watch, people. Wait and watch. Give him, you can't change it now. Let him do his thing and just wait, and you'll see what happens. And of course, you get somebody here going, "Oh, I'm waiting and I'm watching," rolling us all back into a third world country like he wants it. Why would Donald Trump want this country to be a third world country? Nothing that he's ever done. In case this person has missed it, he was president for 4 years, and that is the opposite of what this country was during that time. It just doesn't make any sense. If you want to compare us to a third world country, do it now. Look at the streets of San Francisco. Look at the streets of Baltimore and some of these blue-run cities that look like third world countries, sleeping in tents, human feces rolling down the street. So don't throw that kind of. I mean, it just made no sense. So that was one Butthurt. The other one is this Russian collusion stuff, and it's actually been proven that Russia interfered to help Trump in 16, 20, and now 24. That's bullshit. It's not even. There's no proof. There's no source. There's no nothing. So that's a Butthurt comment. It's some guy who's unwilling to accept what has been and what is about to be is now gone. He's going with the Russian collusion. There's been some interesting ones, but he's going with Russian collusion. And he said, we don't know how much they affected the results, but it was there. Okay, good for you. Jeremy. It's a very common name, so I don't feel like I'm throwing him under the bus too much. Those are Butthurt comments tonight. Pretty simple. I want to know how long this is going to go. I want to know how long people are going to whine. People are going to, I mean, I know it's relatively new. We still have Inauguration Day crying to happen. And hopefully everything goes smoothly there. And talking shit on Twitter is the worst thing that happens from now and then and after. But it's done. Let's move on. Let's talk. When Trey, hopefully when he gets back, we can get back to what we used to do. We'll talk about issues, but it seems like now everything's about Trump or anti-Trump people, and that dictates what side you're on with everything. And we'll talk about that. So let's go to news. I like that intro because it lets me take 2 sips of whatever I'm drinking. We're back in the evening time, so I don't look like a raging alcoholic when we do a 10 o'clock. When I'm sitting here at 10 in the morning, I have coffee then. I promise it's not alcohol in that cup. Let's start with the drones. I don't know if anybody's heard this yet, but you should if you pay attention to anything. And I was just up in New York City, so I was kind of close to this, and people were talking about it. But there have been these drones, and they're not little drones. These aren't hobbyists that are out there flying drones around. These are like 6x6, kind of like fucking big drones. And they're been spotted. The initial ones are the ones that concern me. We'll get there, but they're over New Jersey, over in New York City. Nobody knows who's operating these drones. My wife asked me a very simple question. She goes, "Do you believe that?" I said, "Well, that's a good point. Maybe they know and they're just unwilling to tell us." I don't think that is the case. I think that our administration doesn't give a shit, to tell you the truth. But this is what gets me. They're first reported over Picatinny, I think I said that right, Arsenal, which is a U.S. military research and manufacturing facility. That alone is something that should make us a little nervous, right? Unknown drones whose lights go off during the middle of the night and are still flying around one of our military facilities. It just doesn't take a lot to see that maybe there's something more here, and we need to be looking more into this. And I'm only going off of quotes from people of power and people of authority. When I say I don't know what they're doing, they could be looking into it, but it doesn't sound like they're that concerned. The authorities said they don't appear to be any public safety concerns at this time. I don't know. Trump's New Jersey golf course was right by that facility as well. So, to me, these two things, the military facility and a Trump golf course, seem like areas of concern and areas that people in power that have drones might want to scope out. So how about we go scope it out and scope them out and see what's going on. Some believe, of course, then you have the opposite side. A lot of Republicans and people are going, these are from the Iranian mothership. And it's not really a ship, the Iranian Central Intelligence, central government. And we need to be aware of it. And we need to blow them out of the sky. What's the damage of blowing unknown drones out of the sky? If the owners aren't supposed to be flying them and their drone is quote unquote confiscated or blown up, what's the problem with that? Rather than taking a chance and risking intel, risking lives. If I was in charge, they'd be blown up. Just to put that out there. The Pentagon's responses, our initial assessment is that they aren't coming from a foreign country. Well, that's good. That's good. Your initial assessment. There are people here in this country that want to do bad things too. So that doesn't tell us anything. The last thing I'll mention is they are legal in New Jersey, to fly. Anybody can fly one. However, they use the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, rules and guidelines. The same as any aviation, any aircraft being flown in New Jersey. And you have to have those. You have to have a license. You have to have all that. This isn't just like you can go out in your backyard and fly this size of a drone. I mean, this is something we need to be looking into, but apparently we don't. I'll go ahead and say it. It's what I'm thinking. I just don't think this administration cares anymore. I think that they, if there's some chance that it would hurt Donald as he comes in, or if there's a chance that it's Iran, who I'm not even sure our administration doesn't like, coming in, I'm not so sure they care. And that if something did happen, that it would leave more of a mess for the new incoming president and his staff. So I don't know. I mean, that's kind of conspiracy theory stuff, but with this administration, it's just something new every day, and I wouldn't be surprised. Tell me your thoughts. I mean, am I full of shit? Am I being silly? I don't know. How about this? There was a stowaway named Svetlana Dali, who's a Russian-born woman who had her permanent U.S. citizenship, and she was living here in the United States, and she was returned to the U.S. by French authorities after she sneaked. It said sneaked. I thought it was snuck, but I'm going to go with this publication. She sneaked on board a Delta flight to Paris, France. And I'll get to how she did it in a second, which is kind of concerning, actually, that she was able to so easily do this. But she claims that when she got back to the United States, that she was poisoned, that she was poisoned by the French. And then they returned her while she was poisoned. And then she was in the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn and was essentially tortured, she said. The room was too cold. She said she felt sick and that she was going to pass out at any moment, and that they intended for her to feel that way. And she felt like her life was in danger, according to her attorney. What I was going to say was, I think there's a chance that... Okay, I'll get there. How about that? Let's start with how she did this. This is fascinating to me. Okay, so TSA initially turns her away. This is at JFK Airport. I was just there, like literally 2 days ago, flying home. TSA at JFK Airport turned her away, of course, because guess what? She didn't have a boarding pass. Of course, you're going to get turned away, right? This just it seems so basic. 5 minutes later, and these are all according to the cameras after the fact, she accessed the security screening machines by joining a group in that separate line of airline employees, the flight attendants, the captains. She kind of snuck through there with them. I don't know if she tried to match her outfit. I didn't get that far. But in that lane, she kind of snuck in, and they were busy helping this and that, and they didn't question her. So once on the flight, the other employees kind of said, "Who the fuck is this? Like we don't recognize her." And she wasn't sitting because, of course, she had no seat. So she was just kind of standing. I just visualized this lady trying to act like when she's serving drinks, is she like throwing peanuts to people? Like, I don't understand what you're going to do on a flight that's 8 hours. I guess from New York, probably 7 or 8 hours, maybe 7 or 8 hours. So once they realized that she wasn't one of them, they, of course, said, "Where's your boarding pass? And where are you supposed to be sitting?" And she said, "Of course, I don't have one. And I want to seek asylum in France from the United States." That's a new one. Of course, the French authorities were waiting for her, and they arrested her when she got to the gate and all that. So my 2 points are this. Why would she want to seek asylum in France? She's a United States citizen. She went through a lot to become one, which everyone should have to do. Please don't tell me it's because of some sort of Donald Trump thing and like everybody else, she's fleeing the United States. I don't believe that's it. I believe, maybe it's the treatment of Russian people in this country these days, because this Ukraine love fest. Everywhere you go, people are flying Ukraine flags. We might as well be in Ukraine. But maybe she's pissed at that. I don't know what her reasoning is for wanting, and that they didn't say why she was seeking asylum in France over being a United States citizen, unless she's got mental issues, which is probably number 3 on the list and probably the most likely. But the first thing is, should we be concerned how easy it was for her to get on this fucking plane? She essentially just walked in with other crew members. I could walk next to somebody, put on some sort of a Navy shirt, maybe similar to this black one, and kind of just go, "All right, hey, I'm with them," and just kind of sneak in. I mean, how does it happen? And how does it take until what do they say? On call or all call or shut the doors and everybody's boarded before anybody realizes that there's this person on the flight. But that's what happened. Delta has come out and said they're going to look into their policies. So that's that story. A stowaway was boarded from New York to Paris, and she was upset because they would not give her asylum even after she snuck on the Delta flight. Oh my goodness. Okay. How about this? Here's some lighthearted stuff. You just need to know this. 3-generation women in Palm Coast, Florida. Trey would be really happy because he thinks everything happens in Florida. On Black Friday, 3 generations stole $400 worth of cosmetics and alcohol from Target. You had 76-year-old woman, her 54-year-old daughter, and a juvenile granddaughter. They were all arrested, and of course, the cameras caught the youngest kind of putting stuff in her bag. I love how grandma and mama made her shove it in the bag, but either way, it just seems very odd that a family of 3 women would go and just... The 76-year-old is probably to blame because she influenced the younger one, who then influenced the youngest one. But either way, the 2 adults were charged with theft and contributing to the delinquency of a minor, and the young girl was returned to her father, as she should be at this point. Just a reminder that not every elderly woman out there, elderly person, is a saint. Some, as Trey and I have given you in many stories, are in fact not. Here we go. This one hits home because I have 2 boys. There's a gentleman named Tyler Wade Gibson. He's 35. His wife, Bailey Alexis Gibson, 32, are facing child abuse charges in Columbia, Missouri. You want to know why? Because the dad, Tyler, tried to perform a circumcision on his infant son at his house by himself with the help of his wife, Bailey. This isn't funny to me because we all know what a circumcision is, and if you're a boy or a man, depends on the day, I can be either one. I didn't even want professionals to do that to my children, much less me have to do it. I didn't even want to watch. So I'm not sure what they were trying to do. It's a couple $100. I mean, was it financial? I don't know. Was it something he thought would be special? I get to circumcise my own infant. But needless to say, it did not go well. They took the infant to the hospital after being surprised by the amount of blood that came from this procedure. The wife, Bailey, of course, told police she was very hesitant about her husband performing this, but that she wanted to be supportive, and she helped him with the procedure. Or what, I don't call it a procedure. Social services then went to the home afterwards, and they removed 5 kids. I guess this couple had 5 kids. That's scary. Court date is set for January. I don't know if you attempting a circumcision at home qualifies all your children being taken from you. I don't know where that line is, and I just think it's something that I don't know. I don't know what the rule is. Is there a law that says you can't do it? Is there a law that, I mean, is that pain and suffering? Is it just physical abuse? The intent was probably good. Does that matter? I just had to tell you that story. Please don't circumcise your children by yourself at home. Simple as that. All right. Here's the last bit of news for tonight before we get to the main topic, which we need to get to. If you're a resident of one of the following: California, Ohio, Tennessee, Florida, or Texas, you can get your photo snapped at a Taco Bell drive-thru for the next 2 weeks. All you have to have is a Taco Bell app and scan a QR code at the drive-thru window, and they will send you the pictures via email that is registered on your Taco Bell app. That's not it. Some of the photos, the best ones, will be part of Taco Bell's commercial that airs during the third quarter of the Super Bowl. So how about that? That'd be kind of cool, I guess. You're admitting you go to Taco Bell. I'm not afraid to admit that I enjoy it. I need to probably enjoy it once every 5 years versus once every 3 months, but I am what I am. But here's the chief marketing officer of Taco Bell, Taylor Montgomery. He said the following: every day in our drive-thru, we see moments that are so uniquely our fans. And I can only imagine what that means. First off, he's calling the people that come and eat there fans of Taco Bell, not just customers. I imagine that these video cameras see a lot of stuff, and now hopefully you click on it and we get some good entertainment for it. The commercial's probably going to edit it down, but hopefully they don't. We see some funny stuff. But that's Taco Bell, good on you for finding a way to take advantage of the security cameras and basically tell people that you're spying on them at the same time. Let's move on. Now all I want is Taco Bell. Okay, everyone. Daniel Penny. This guy is a hero. I'm not going to mess around. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm not going to sit here and try and tease this topic. If you disagree, you have one of two choices. You can, one, listen and try and see where the people that believe he's a hero are coming from, or you can, two, bitch and cry about it, play a victim mindset and false narratives, and continue to divide. Allow me to elaborate. Let's talk about it. The case was simple. Okay? We gave it before. Should have looked up which episode it was. Don't think I won't put it out, though, on this one, so you can go back and listen to it. When the story happened, the incident happened, Trey and I did this story. Daniel Penny is a white former Marine. He was 24 at the time. I'm not sure if he's had a birthday since then. The other gentleman in the story is named Jordan Neely, who is black and who was, quote unquote, a subway entertainer. He would impersonate Michael Jackson for tips, if you will. What happened is there was one day, there was about 15 people in this subway car, one of them being Penny and one of them being Neely. Well, Neely, Jordan Neely, the black gentleman, started screaming and threatening the subway. He was saying all kinds of stuff. He was saying he was ready to die. He was saying he didn't care about anything anymore. He was saying he had a weapon. His exact quote was, "I don't give a damn. I'll kill a motherfucker. I'm ready to die too." To me, if I was in that car, I'd be extremely nervous, extremely uncomfortable, and I would want this man subdued. Well, that's exactly what happened, okay? Daniel Penny, who is a trained Marine, used a technique, a chokehold technique, to subdue this guy who was threatening the train. Nobody knew what Jordan Neely had on him. He was reaching into his coat. Turns out it was a fucking muffin, but nobody knew that. How is anybody supposed to know? There were children. There were children on that car. How is anybody supposed to know what he was really going to do or capable of doing? Daniel Penny subdued him, put him in a chokehold. It was about 5 to 6 minutes. And when Neely passed out, this is the part that people want to forget, that are all over Penny for this. Penny tried a technique that was a reviving technique. Daniel Penny was not trying to kill this man. He tried to resuscitate him. He tried to revive him once he was further than subdued. Turns out there were reasons that he went further than being subdued by this chokehold, and it wasn't just because of that. So, like I said, it was a military training. He did a revival tactic. He didn't want to kill him, blah, blah, blah. These are all my notes. I already said it without looking. Witnesses, they said they were terrified of Neely's words. They also said they were relieved that Penny took action. These are the people on the train. So Jordan Neely, let's talk about him as a person. Jordan Neely was arrested 42 times in his illustrious career as a subway entertainer. 3 of them were for assaulting women. Most of them were a robbery, pickpocketing, things like that. Still not the most stand-up guy. His family never claimed him, never wanted him. We did another story, a follow-up story about a cousin or a brother who all of a sudden came out and said, "I can't believe this happened to my cousin or brother." And before that, it was never willing to help. Nobody wanted to claim this guy until this happened, or they would have helped him. So all of a sudden, his family, justice needs to be served. We're going to be hurting because of this. But you didn't care before. So what I need to do here is I've got to show you this video. And I did not have it pulled up, and so I'm delaying, and hopefully the boys can chop this to where it's ready to go. But it's, of course, once this happened, and I'm going to pause as soon as it comes up. Okay, once this happened, you had reactions from both sides. And of course, like I said, I'm going to have him put it up, hopefully over here. And this is some Black Lives Matter head of whatever. and I'm going to say it again, and people are starting to see through this bullshit. This is just, this is a hoax. This Black Lives Matter. They're after money. They're after this, they're after that. They haven't done it. What have they done? Tell me what they've done. What programs have they really started? What are they funding? Have they given money? Have any of the money they've received? It's a joke, and it has nothing to do with race. So get the fuck off with that shit. But this is the reaction of a Black Lives Matter person after the Daniel Penny hearing. He went through the right proceedings. He was arrested, which he should have never been anyway. And here is one of the leaders. I believe this is in New York City. I was there at the time. Too bad I didn't run into him.
Just like everybody else has vigilantes, we need some black vigilantes.
That's right.
People want to jump up and choke us and kill us for being loud.
Being loud or threatening people.
How about we do the same when they attempt to oppress us?
Right.
I'm tired.
Tired.
I know you're looking for us to be like, oh, go and march. Go and march. No. This weekend, I want you to hold a community event everywhere from the Bronx to Houston to Seattle to Florida. Black people hold community events and talk about what you need.
Okay, that was the biggest load of horseshit I've ever heard in my life. A man who this gentleman said was being loud, who was actually threatening people, saying he was ready to die himself, that he was going to kill motherfucker. Well, I'm trying to do the motherfucker. And this guy, this lovely spoken gentleman, comes on and says, we need to go and now we need to choke them. Well, who's them? I'm confused. All white people? Is he declaring some sort of race war right now on white people? Let's choke them? Or does he mean let's choke white people who are doing exactly what Jordan Neely did? If that's what he means, then I'm all on board. If there's a white man on that subway, and I guarantee you, if Jordan Neely was white, Penny would have done the exact same thing. If anybody is threatening anyone else on a subway, especially children involved, women involved, Daniel Penny would have acted. I don't care what color that person was. I don't care what race it was. And if you really want to talk about it, the percentages are what they are. The chances of that person being white are a lot different if you want to talk about it. Now, why that is, we can go way deep into, and there's a lot of stuff that we can get to. But for this incident, the fact that anybody's considering Daniel Penny anything other than a hero for helping people and saving people, it is not about the color of Jordan Neely's skin. I just don't understand what this need to play a victim card is. Why are we doing this? It's beyond me that anybody can sit here and look at this story, read the details of the story, and be like, wow, Jordan Neely was a great guy and he was taken from us. He was a Michael Jackson impersonator. He also had 42 times he was arrested and he was threatening a train and saying he was going to kill people. Let's talk about something else. There's a forensic pathologist who said the following. The chokehold by itself did not kill this man. This sounds familiar, but this makes sense. He had sickle cell crisis in his body with different issues, schizophrenia, struggle and restraint, and the synthetic marijuana in his system all combined to kill him. When the police arrived, he had a faint pulse. Penny hadn't killed him. He had a faint pulse. He was pronounced dead at the hospital because his body couldn't survive whatever that trauma was. Just think about it, people. I mean, really? Is he a hero or is he a murderer? One of the two. Tell me, write me. Tell me why Daniel Penny's a murderer. You tell me that he sat there and he said, I'm going to kill this guy just because I can. Really? Or was he a hero? He looked around and he said, I'm assessing this situation. I don't like it. I was trained in the Marines, served his country, by the way. I know it's not as good as 42, arrests that his the person had that he went after, and he saved people. And what he was quoted saying, Daniel Penny, was that if he had not done that, and something had happened, and Jordan Neely had hurt or killed multiple people or one person, he would never have been able to live it down. He would have always felt like he could have prevented it. To me, that's a good man. To me, we need more Daniel Pennies, not less. We need way less of this narrative. This narrative that people are somehow after only black people. If that was a white guy doing this, people would be like, "Oh, that's fine. He's being silly." Fuck no. Get over it. Get over yourselves. I'm tired of it. And that leads me to this. All I'm seeing now is politicizing. I'm seeing headlines that say the far right are rejoicing. MAGA is rejoicing. Are you kidding me? We're politicizing this? Only MAGA is rejoicing? Not one single person that voted for Kamala Harris thinks that Daniel Penny, was in the right, and that they're thankful that he was not convicted. Only Trump supporters, only MAGA, only the far right, whatever the fuck that means. It's like 40 people. So I'll end with this, and this proves my point. This shows my frustration. There is a publication. I don't know how they're a publication. It's the slimiest, shittiest publication I've heard or read so far, called The New Republic. So I'm tossing you under the bus. And you're lucky, whoever the writer is, that I'm not tossing you under the bus because I forgot to write your name down. Probably good. You're irrelevant. They compared this to Rittenhouse. For those of you that don't know, that was a young underage gentleman who shot in self-defense at one of the riots in, I believe it was Minnesota. I believe that was Minneapolis. I'm not sure if that was a George Floyd or one of the others. But it was self-defense. They were beating him, and there were 4 of them that were beating him to every last ounce of his life. That's a whole nother discussion. I'm not sitting here. I don't care about Kyle Rittenhouse as a person, but that's a different discussion. Zimmerman, who was the one who shot Trayvon Martin, and now Penny. So they're comparing them to these 3 people. And this is the quote that really, really pissed me off, and the quote that makes me feel like the editor and whoever is at this publication has an agenda, and it's not a healthy one. The last paragraph of this article said the perpetrator lionized by the far right. Again, lionized, which has some underlying meaning there. Perpetrator lionized by the far right as making justified killings against criminals rather than enacting vigilante justice fueled by racism. Seriously. Daniel Penny wanted to act like a vigilante because Neely was black and he had an opportunity? Or was it the first one, which makes a lot of sense, which was subduing a criminal? I just don't understand. I really want people to think about this and understand that a guy like Daniel, listen to him talk. Just listen to him. He's a good guy, and he's going through. He said he'd go through it again if it meant saving the people on the train and knowing for a fact that they weren't going to be hurt. If you have 15 people on the train that are acting innocent and just trying to take the train, and one person over here who's being a psychopath, and by the way, after the fact had 42 previous arrests, he's a criminal, and he's yelling that he's going to kill people, and he's yelling that he's not afraid to die himself, which makes it even scarier. More likely that he will kill people. You're going to act on that if you're a brave human, not because you're racist, but because you're not racist. You're compassionate. You're caring. I don't know for a fact, but I guarantee not all 15 of those people on that train were white. So he was looking after people that weren't white. Proved to me that they were, and I'll apologize for that comment. But until you do, the New York City subway, I imagine, I was just in New York walking the streets, and it's quite diverse, which is a great thing. But don't sit here and tell me Daniel Penny's a racist and that he intended to kill the man. So I'm happy to hear that the results are what they were. There's so much more on this topic. I've got interviews from Daniel himself. I have more people crying and screaming about how it's unfair and how here we are again trying to hold the black man down. I mean, the fact that this guy on that video just continued to call us oppressors because one of their own, the way he's acting, was not loud. He said he was being loud. He was being more than loud, as we've already established. The fact that anybody could think that is scary to me, and it's the problem. And it adds to this conversation about a victim mindset. It adds to the conversation about divisiveness. What's the purpose of this guy on the video you just watched coming on and screaming about? You're gonna have some. Hopefully, it's not me. You're gonna have some white man choked out by a black man because of rhetoric like this for no reason. Again, if there's a white man on a train and he's threatening people and he's saying he's gonna kill them, great. So try and subdue him. Do what you can. And if this happened, it would be a tragedy. If he ended up dying, it'd be a tragedy. Like it was with Jordan Neely. But it happened for a reason. It happened because of Jordan Neely's behavior and his actions. It didn't happen because Daniel Penny and his actions. Remember that. Remember whose actions caused this. And thank goodness Daniel's out, and hopefully I wish him the best. And hopefully he can get back to living a normal life. So that's it for tonight. Write me. Let me know what you think of this. Is he a hero or is he a murderer? Daniel Penny. And I'll move on from there. And I look forward to reading some of these in the Butthurt comments to the show section. I'm going to end tonight with a quote. I feel like there's so much more, but I'll end it. I feel like I just can repeat myself because I'm just continuously baffled. I'll turn on the news and I'm just like, are these really reactions? Is this really the mindset? Or of course it's not. That's the point. And the sooner I get that through my head, the sooner the better. Is that they're not really reactions. They're not real thoughts. They're narratives, and they're an excuse for people to lash out and to get together like this and play the victim card. So I'm fed up with it. Let's move forward. Literally, everybody, let's move forward. This quote maybe applies, maybe it doesn't, but I like it. It says, obsessed is a word that the lazy use to describe the dedicated. Obsessed is a word the lazy use to describe the dedicated. So when people tell me that I'm obsessed with things, I'll remember this quote. And that I'm just dedicated, like I am with this show. Love you guys. See you next time.